Okay, got one more here. By Heather Igloliorte, No History of Colonialism. So, focusing on decolonialism and talking about this exhibition and Decolonize Me that popped up in response to Stephen Harper's history of like flip-flopping on his real feelings about colonialism and its strategies. It's talking about a couple different exhibitions, so but it's kind of making this point that Nikki Sanchez was talking about, that our history together puts us in this like collective position of responsibility as far as acting upon methods of decolonization. So it's about acknowledging and making our true history known, and recognizing Indigenous sovereignty and what that could look like, and helping to make that happen through acts and actions and strategies of decolonialism. But it's also about inserting or asserting Indigenous identity. So it's saying, like, that a lot of Indigenous people have to work within like these Western frameworks, and this doesn't actually it doesn't stop Indigenous people from finding methods that resist that form of assimilation. So, and I guess it's sort of like asserting a form of identity into this sort of space. So I think the writer is actually like enacting her own method of resistance by highlighting these Indigenous exhibitions to prove her point. So I guess like the thesis to this could be something like Indigenous people enact methods that emphasize Indigenous culture and knowledge in their work through a variety of decolonizing strategies. And this is like a necessary method of resistance that's able to speak to like an art historical context that is Western, pedagogical, and based in like research methods, and includes like these methods of exhibition that are inadequate to describe the complexities of Indigenous cultures and practices. So it is like it's talking about how artists use Western points of reference to sort of frame these topics of colonialism, and this could be like a method of decolonialism that David Garneau referred to in his article, The Extra-Rational Aesthetic Action and Cultural Decolonization, like that gut over emotion reaction, for instance, in a comparable way that Supersize Me talked about consumption, and in this case that paralleled I guess to our history of colonialism and its generational impacts. And I thought it was kind of interesting because when I think about Supersize Me, what I always see in my mind is that scene where he goes to eat it after eating it, and he gets like really sick out of his car window. And it was like, it's just so gross that anytime that I hear about that movie, like that comes to mind and I think about that scene. So I think like as an exhibition title, it kind of has layers of effectiveness when referring to colonialism in that way. So, and at times, like, the exhibitions are using practices that indigenize the museum as well. So it's very multi-layered, and so it speaks to resilience and Indigenous sovereignty and resistance, and these methods that intervene with and resist Western exhibitionary practices. And it participates like in a reframing of knowledge through the reclaiming of Indigenous identity. Yeah, so I think it's important though, like to talk about and understand how Indigenous art forms, like it as it says in here, transcend art history's epistemological frameworks, and I think it's an important insert and disruption and way to desettle this Western-centered art history. So it's very important. So, and it says that it contributes to the newly revived national conversation on Indigenous social and economic issues in Canada through the art of these artists that have this work that is like challenging these narratives, right? So, yeah. So, and I guess one part I really liked was the person that didn't really have like knowledge of beading in her family, but was able to learn beading. So, yeah, and was making the dolls. So I thought that was really cool. And the whole idea of making, looking at past to inform the present. So, but yeah. So those are my readings for this week, and I'll see you in class.